Right, welcome to the solutions video for the homework series from assignment 5.06, or actually lesson 5.06. They are all 12 IXL or IXL's grade 12 skill Y.9. So we are doing conditional probability. On a camping trip, Olivia left a log of the types of snakes she saw. She noted their colors and approximate lengths. What's the probability that a randomly selected snake is red, given that, keywords here, given that the snake is 1 foot long? So here we are given the snake is 1 foot long. So these are the only 6 possibilities we are looking at. So 3 of those 6 are red, and 3 out of 6 reduces to 1 out of 2. So we'll always be seeing what's given to figure out which column or row we're looking at. So what's the odds that they read a newspaper 1 or 2 times given that they remembered 1 to 3 cards? That's 6 out of 5 plus 6, or 11. So here we're given that the beanbag chair was filled with beads. So there's 8 of them, and 3 out of 8 are suede. So here we are given that the contestant is only in the beard competition, and we're looking for red. So that's 6 out of a total of 9, or 2/3. Here we are given that the bow tie is cotton. So how many of these 12 are shaped like a bat wing? 4. 4 out of 12 reduces to 1 out of 3. Here we are given that it's made with grape jelly. So there's those 7. How many of the chunky? Well, 5 of the 7 in that row are made with chunky. So what's the probability that a randomly selected sushi roll is a little spicy given salmon? So that's 6 out of a total of 8, or 3 out of 4. And here, probability that it was vanilla given that it was ordered on Saturday, that is 3 out of 5. Probability that it was country given the number of plays, that is 4 out of 12, or 1/3. Probability that it was chicken noodle given that it was ordered in a cup. So of these 4 possibilities, only 2 are chicken noodle. 2 out of 4 reduces to 1 out of 2. So what's the probability that a randomly selected friend preferred organic given that they tasted blueberries? So we're in this row because they tasted blueberries. Preferring organic is 4 out of those 10, or 2 out of 5. 5, not 4. Probability that it's a broken tooth given that they're over 60. So 14 of the patients are over 60, and 5 of those 14 came for broken tooth. So we are given that is made of plastic number 2. So it's looking only at the first row. Correctly placed is 2 of those 7. So given 3 passengers, that's the 16. Probability that it's blue is 8 out of 16, or 1/2. Probability of green eyes given that it's a fast heart rate. So that's 4 out of a total of 11. Because again, we're looking for the total in that given, which is our second column. So we are given sunglasses have cat eye frames. That's our first row. Probability that the pair have regular lenses. That's 10 of those 17. Now, given that the student sings in the shower 1 to 2 times a week, so that's in this column where we have 37 total. What's the probability that they prefer country? 22 out of 37. Oh, 22 out of 47. Okay, I did that math wrong. My apologies. It's going to take a little bit longer than to hit the mastery. So what's the probability that a randomly selected computer reacted over 10.7 seconds, given that the competitor was male? So that's 6 out of these 17. Now, probability that a randomly selected driver had red hair, a randomly selected driver had a red car, given red hair. So 3 satisfy this, and the red hair is 24. 3 out of 24 reduces to 1 out of 8. Now, given that the ore was purchased in 2010, so it's of these 13, what's the probability that it's ash? 10 out of 13. Probability that the student used chalk given that they drew a plant. So we have 32 drawings of plants, 12 of which use chalk, and 12 out of 32 reduces. Both are multiples of 4. So that leaves us with 3 out of 8. Now, given that the tea is caffeinated, so we're in our second column, probability of fruity, that's 16, and it's 16 out of 39, which have no common factors, so that fraction is reduced. Well, they also have the common factor of 1, but they have no common factors that are useful for reducing a fraction. So, what's the probability that a superhero can read minds given that they're lazy? So that's 26 out of and 43, which is prime. So we don't have to look for simplifications. So, given that the student enjoys student council, we've got 14 of them, 8 of which prefer math. 8 out of 14 reduces to 4 out of 7. Now, given that the passenger checked 0 bags, we have 13. What's the probability of bronze status? 9 out of 13. Now, what's the probability that a randomly selected balloon animal is black, given that it's shaped like a giraffe? Well, there's only 1 of each, so it's 1 out of the total of this column. So we have 15 plus 18, so 1 out of 33. All right. So what's the probability that a selected customer is displeased, given that they purchased the footlong shoe? So there's 10 people who bought the footlong, 7 of whom were displeased. I do not think the footlong is going to be highly recommended, but it's better than the step 2 it shoe for sure. So probability that a randomly selected contestant is wearing tennis shoes, given that they're under the age of 12. That is 5 out of 9. Now, probability that a randomly selected contestant is from India, given that they scored exactly 85 points. So we have 5 plus 17 makes 22, plus 20, we have 42 contestants, 5 of whom are from India. That scored 85 points. Now, what's the probability that a randomly selected participant spun the second wheel and landed on matches, given that they're in the desert? So there's 15 to pick from in the givens, 8 of whom wanted matches. So what is the probability that a randomly selected marble is big, given that the marble is red? So if we know it's red, there's 14 of them, 14 of which are big. This simplifies to 1 because there are no small red marbles. So given that it's red, with 0 small, we know it's big. And what is the probability that a randomly selected bike is blue, given that it has mountain bike tires? Again, that is 16 that are blue. This time, though, we don't have just the 1, because we're not given that it's blue. We're given that we have mountain bike tires. So this will be 16 over 8 plus 16, which is 24, plus 11 makes 35, plus 10 makes 45, plus 5 makes 50. So this is 16 out of 50, both of which are even. So that reduces to 8 out of 25. So there we go with that one misstep, but still, those are all the types of questions for the two-wave frequency tables.